When you hear the words entry-level motorcycle, most people think cheap and cheerful. But BMW have not scrimped on this. Their first modern sub-500cc motorcycle. In fact, forgetting its engine capacity, the G310R has an air of luxury about it. The BMW G310R is powered by a 313cc 4-valve single-cylinder engine mated to a 6-speed gearbox, putting out 28 Nm of torque at 7,500 RPM. That's 25 kilowatts or 33 horsepower for those watching stateside. That's more than enough power for a beginner or a commuter. Hell, if we are all honest with ourselves, then it's more than enough to achieve what most of us actually use our bikes for. But what's really interesting about the G310R is the way it delivers that power. It comes on so smoothly, I can't believe it's not butter. So let's talk about that wee 313cc engine for a minute. What they've done is they've leant the cylinder back instead of forward like you find on many other single-cylinder bikes. They've also brought the air in the front of the engine and the exhaust out the back, which, when you think about it, kind of makes sense. Reversing this, BMW were able to make the header shorter, allowing the bike to adhere to Euro 4. It's hauled up by a 300mm disc with 4-piston caliper up front and a 240mm disc with single-piston caliper out the rear. The brakes have feeling and bite, and they're remarkably smooth and sensitive. Plus, yes, she has ABS. The wheelbase is 1,374mm. The clutch lever is light to pull but still has a great amount of feeling. The ergonomics are pretty good for those sub 6 foot, though you do feel like you sit in the bike as opposed to on it. Some may like this, some may not, but there's a sense of security as you slot into the pilot's seat. My knees felt snug following the form of the tank beautifully. There's loads of room around the foot pegs, the shifter and the rear brake, meaning I had no problems finding the shifter even when wearing my former adventure riding boots. So, how does she handle? Being a smaller bore engine, you do feel the need to get the revs up a bit to get the bike to perform. Maybe that's because I'm used to the bigger engines, but once I got the engine above 5,000 RPM, I felt the bike really came alive. Though it is a little bit vibey up there. It is a small single after all. The exhaust has a great song to sing at higher RPM. Louder than I expected. Under acceleration, the exhaust tone gave me the impression I was riding a much bigger engine. Wind the throttle on and the power comes on in a very linear fashion right through to redline. Designed by BMW Germany, so you know the design is good, but what about the build quality? Well, it's built by TVS India, but looking at it, you wouldn't know. The build quality is definitely up to BMW standards here. So that, in a nutshell, is the BMW G310R, a great little bike for beginners, commuters, or maybe somebody short of stature. She's a looker, a performer, and gives the feeling of an angry puppy. Cute, fun to play with, but you'd have to be doing something seriously wrong for it to want to rip your face off. If you get the chance, definitely take the BMW G310R for a cruise. In short, I think BMW have done a great job for this, their first modern sub-500cc motorcycle.